Guys, in this lesson, we're going to take a look at how we can use the whole tone scale to get some pretty hip, slightly outside sounds in a blues setting. Now, if you're not familiar with the whole tone scale, it's basically a scale in whole steps. So in the key of A here, I would have my A, my root, my B, my second, the C sharp, my major third, D sharp, which would be my raised fourth, E sharp or F, which would be my raised fifth, and my flat seventh, the G note. Now, because the scale includes the major third, the flat seventh, and that raised fifth, it's a great scale choice to use over altered dominant chords, especially leading from the 1 chord to the 4 chord in the blues. And that's the way that we are going to use it over our blues in A, leading from the A7 to the D7. So tune up and let's get started.
All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is show you a whole tone scale pattern from A, all right, from the A down here on the low E string at the 5th fret. Now, this is kind of a typical way that you could play a whole tone scale pattern. There's really only 2 whole tone scales because they repeat every 2 frets. Also, the fingering that I'm using in this scale pattern is just kind of a suggestion. If you have fingerings that you think work better for you, then go ahead and use those. Also, I'm going to be using all alternate picking throughout. Going to start by playing this with the metronome at 80 BPM, but I do suggest that you gradually work up your tempo to probably about 100 or even maybe 120. All right, so now I'm going to show you how to use that whole tone scale in the context of a 12-bar blues in A. Most of the time, you're going to be hearing somebody use this kind of sound going from the 1 chord to the 4 chord in measure 4 leading to measure 5. Okay, so I'm going to play over a 12-bar blues and give you 4 examples of licks that you could use. Okay, let's go ahead and break down this first lick. Now, the phrasing of this one is very simple. It's just 8th notes. But do remember that we're playing in kind of a shuffle feel, so you're going to swing those 8th notes a little bit. All right, we're sliding into the major third at the 9th fret on the high E string there. Down to the root, flat 7th. Go down here to the B note with your 3rd finger. Pull that off to the 5th fret there, your root. So far we have this. Now to the 2nd finger, right there, to that raised 5th, that F note, to the major 3rd, down to the root there at the 7th fret, sliding in now right when we get to that D7 chord, to the F sharp, which is the 3rd of D7. So from the beginning. And then finishing up, hitting the D right there at the 7th fret, going down to the flat 7th of the D, which is at the 5th fret, that C note. So all together we have this. Again. Okay, so let's break this one down now. We're starting at the very last 8th note on the 3rd measure, so leading into that 4th measure. Right there at the E note at the 9th fret, sliding that down to the 8th fret, up to the G note there, the flat 7, to the B natural, and then I'm kind of going to do that same exact shape 2 frets up, sliding into the 9th fret, down to the A note there at the 10th fret, the root, to the F note at the 10th fret on the G string, and then sliding into the F sharp right on the change to that D7, your 4 chord. Going up to the A note, ending on the D note at the 12th fret on the D string. So all together I have this 2, 3, 4. Again, real slow. And remember, you can use whatever fingering is comfortable for you. All right, so let's break that one down now. We are still leading from that 1 chord to that 4 chord. Okay, so this is kind of right in measure 4 of our 12-bar blues. Starting by pulling off the C sharp note to the B note. 1. Right there. 1. They're gonna go down to the 8th fret on the B string with the 2nd finger. That D sharp with the 1st finger. So this is like 1. I'm then going to bar that 1st finger right there. So 1. Down to the B natural with the 2nd finger on the 9th fret on the D string. So this is 1. Back here to the 8th fret on the G string. One more time, real slow. 1. Really typical kind of whole tone shapes here. And then we're going to go back and slide into the F sharp there, the 3rd of that D chord. Bar the 1st finger, and then end on the C note, the flat 7 of our D chord. So from the beginning here, 1. All right, this last lick is very cool sounding and also pretty easy to pull off. We're mostly just kind of doing intervals of 6, descending 2 frets at a time. I'm moving chromatically to the first one here, from the 9th fret to the 11th fret on the D string. Just like that. I'm going to grab that 10th fret on the B string and let it ring together. Then slide that down. And then we're going to move it down 2 frets. Again. Then 1 fret down to the 4th fret on the D string. 3rd fret on the B string. And then slide that down. So altogether you have this. And placement of this is really important. We're starting on that 2nd 8th note of beat 4. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4. We do that and we're going to time it and land on that 4 chord, the D chord, right on time.